I have created the best Google Ads testing campaign and process. Because after more than 10 years helping e-commerce brands run their own Google Ads campaigns, I've noticed something. Most people are stuck testing random ideas and hoping something sticks. That's why I created this killer campaign and testing process so that you can build winning ad setups faster in Google Ads without wasting money on trial and error. And by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to get results in the easiest, most cost-effective way. Over the years, I've developed a process, a campaign setup that is hands down the best way to test Google Ads effectively. And the key to it all is using Google's Performance Max campaigns. Now, you might be wondering, why Performance Max? What makes it so good? That's exactly what I'm going to break down for you first. Then I'll show you how to set it up for success, and finally, how to use the results to scale your ads and your business. Alright, so let's dive into the why of why we're using Performance Max for testing. It's not just another campaign type, it's actually a total game changer. First off, Performance Max is like a one-stop shop for testing everything Google Ads can offer. It actually covers all of Google's platforms in one campaign. That means your ads can appear on search, display, YouTube, Gmail, Maps, and more, everywhere your customers hang out online, essentially. And secondly, the automation is ridiculously smart. Google's AI does all the heavy lifting for you. Let's say you've got a goal like hitting a specific return on ad spend. So PMax will automatically push more budget to the parts of Google's network that are driving the results you want, and it will pull back from the parts of the network that aren't. It's like having a data nerd on your team working 24/7 to optimize your campaigns. But here's what really sets it apart. Performance Max doesn't just run ads, it teaches you what works as well. It's like having a discovery tool built into your campaign that gives you insights into what's driving your results. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful for testing, because we can then take that data and use it to improve our campaigns and scale our sales. Okay, now that you know why PMax is the perfect testing tool, let's talk about how to set it up and what to prioritize. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the full campaign setup process. If you do want a full video walkthrough of the PMax campaign setup process, I'll put a link in the description below this video, so check it out down there. So I'm not going to redo that whole video, but as you do go through the campaign setup process, I want you to know what are the key areas to focus on doing really well. This actually depends on whether you are e-commerce or lead gen. Now, when I say lead gen, I really mean any kind of campaign where you are not driving direct sales and revenue, and instead you're usually driving conversions, usually which will lead to revenue later on. So for example, B2B services and SaaS or software as a service, we'd often categorize them as lead gen. Okay, so let's talk e-commerce first. If you are running PMax for e-commerce, adding high quality assets such as images and headlines is not the priority. Instead, the priority is your product feed. Looking in the campaign setup flow, here is where you add your product feed. And this is the thing to prioritize for e-commerce. And this is different to the assets that you add, which you will find over here in the campaign setup flow. Now, I'm not saying that for e-commerce you should not care about assets at all. And I'm not saying that you should not add assets. Yes, even for e-commerce, I do recommend adding those assets like headlines, images, and videos. But what I am saying is that where you should be prioritizing your time is in making a really good product feed, because this is what drives most of the sales in PMax when you are an e-commerce advertiser. Most of your sales in e-commerce Performance Max are going to come from shopping ads, and shopping ads do not use those assets you add at all. They only use the product feeds to generate the ads. To show you how this looks in the real world, take a look here at this Performance Max spend report that I've generated for one of my client accounts. What you can see down here is that PMax spends mostly on shopping ads, the dark blue bar. There is a bit of search, in some campaigns more than others, and a bit of display and a tiny bit of video. The display and video stuff is usually almost entirely retargeting stuff, by the way, for e-commerce. So it's because of this spend distribution that I say, yes, do add some good assets for Performance Max for e-commerce, but don't sweat it too much. Don't spend hours or days or weeks trying to find those perfect assets. And instead, if you're going to spend time trying to improve your creative in your Performance Max campaign for e-commerce, e-commerce, spend that time on making the product feed better. The specific things to work on in your product feed are your product titles, which need to be packed full of highly searched for and relevant keywords, and your product images, which need to clearly show the product and stand out from the competition. Now, I have in some other videos gone into product feed optimization in more depth, so for a video focused on that topic, you can check the links in the description below this video once again. But your main takeaway right here is that when setting up your Performance Max campaign as a discovery tool for testing Google Ads for e-commerce, invest time during your setup phase in customizing and improving your product feed, focusing mostly on the product titles and images inside there. Okay, so that was for e-commerce, but what about for lead generation, SaaS, and any kind of campaign where you will not be attaching an e-commerce product feed? In this case, your assets really are quite critical. It is your assets and your assets alone that will determine how your ads are crafted. So in the case of lead gen, you really do want to spend some time making sure your assets are solid. Here are some tips on making sure your assets are really good. For your text assets, you will get up to 15 headlines, 5 long headlines, and 5 descriptions. For a PMax discovery campaign, I recommend you max out on all of these, and the most important asset here is the 15 normal length headlines, as these will generally have the biggest impact on your overall results. With those headlines, make sure to include a variety of headlines. Do not just repeat the same thing. Have some headlines that call out features and benefits, have some headlines that feature your brand name, and definitely have some that have call to actions in them. Call to actions in headlines work great. When it comes to images, you can add up to 20, plus you can add 5 logos. For the images, you also have 3 size options: landscape, square, and portrait, and I recommend you add at least a few of each size option. That way you will allow Google to create ads across its network in every available type of placement. For your images, make sure to keep the most important content within the central part of the image. Do not have the main content off to the side of the image, as Google can sometimes crop off the edges of your image. Don't feel the need to add tons of text on your images. Google will already add text on the ad based on the text assets you provided. Instead, focus on compelling and clear images that will look good on any device, especially mobile, where most of your PMax traffic is probably going to be coming from. When it comes to video, you can add up to 5, and again, you have a number of different size options, and again, I recommend you add at least 1 in each of the size options to maximize your compatibility. I know, it's a ball ache having to add videos, but if you do not do this, Google just auto-generates the videos for you based on your website, and those auto videos can be pretty bad. So I do recommend you create your own videos here, because anything you do create, even if it's a quick and easy one, is going to be better than what Google auto-generates for you. Trust me on that. Services I have used personally in the past to quickly and cheaply produce videos that are better than Google's auto videos include Billo.app and Fiverr.com. Both of those apps are kind of like a marketplace where you can connect with low-cost video creators. Because of that, the quality of the results is really down to the quality of your brief and your selection process for working with creators. That said, it's definitely feasible to get quick and cheap videos from either of these services that will outperform auto videos from Google in PMax. Now, here's where Performance Max really shines. Once your campaign is running, you don't just leave it and hope for the best. You want to start digging into the data and using that to scale. First up, there's search terms insights. This is gold. PMax will show you which search terms are driving your conversions. From there, you can create manual search campaigns targeting those exact terms, which lets you control things like match type, ad copy, and landing pages to really dial in the results. To find search term insights, click into your Performance Max campaign and click into the Insights report right here. Scroll down, and right here you will find the search terms insights. Click here to view a more detailed report. There's an option over here to download the report to a spreadsheet, which is really handy actually for filtering out the best keywords. So what we do with this data is we want to rank in descending order of conversions like this, and make sure to have a nice wide date range selected like this. And now at the top, we are going to start seeing the highest converting search terms like this. Now what you do with those terms is you add them into a manually controlled search campaign. In the manually controlled search campaign, we are able to optimize our ad copy better, we're able to control the match type, and we're able to see and optimize the quality score. And when we do all these things, we get more sales and a better ROAS out of the keyword. So it's kind of like saying, thanks PMax for discovering this keyword for me, but let me take it from here. I got it from here. Next is Audience Insights. On the Insights report screen again, if you scroll down just below the search terms section, you will see the Audience Insights section. Right here is where Google will tell you exactly what audiences are doing well in your account. You can use this information in a couple of ways. Firstly, you can create Google Display Network and/or YouTube ad campaigns that directly target these audiences. Secondly, you can use these audiences to help decide what changes to make to your assets. For example, you can see here in this report that for this campaign, I get high engagement from older demographics and country music fans. So, knowing that, I might want to go and create video and image ads that use country music imagery. Then I can potentially use that creative in a display or YouTube campaign that also targets this country music audience, and boom, it's a sort of double whammy of hitting the right audience with the right creative, almost guaranteed to boost my click-through rate and conversions. Now in just a minute, I'm going to show you how to access a free script that tells you where PMax is really spending your money. But before I do that, let me just take a moment to let you know that I've released a brand new thing called the Custom Google Ads Growth Plan. With the Custom Google Ads Growth Plan, you get a full Google Ads account audit from me and my senior team. We will break down for you the exact areas where you can be improving your Google Ads account. We'll put all this into an easy to follow document that you can keep and use as a guide on how to get a minimum 10% increase in revenue from Google Ads. And that is actually guaranteed. I guarantee that if you follow the steps we list out in your custom Google Ads growth plan, you will get a minimum 10% increase in Google Ads revenue or your money back. These growth plans are fully customized to your business and ads account. My team is pretty small and these things take a while to put together, so availability for them is limited. Now, if you'd like to apply to get your own custom Google Ads growth plan from me with that nice 10% increase in revenue guaranteed, then check out the link in the description below this video. All right, back to the main content for today's video. Earlier in this video, I showed you this graph of where PMax is spending the money for a client of mine. So you can actually get a free script that creates this graph for you. I will put the link to the free script in the description below this video. Being able to see where PMax is spending your money is very important for making good decisions on what additional campaigns to build out. For example, in this client report, we can see that PMax has not been very successful with video ads. It's spent not much money on them and it's not got much conversions for video. On the other hand, there is a bit of display happening and a chunk of search. So I would be going in and creating additional campaigns for search and for display to be able to target them better and get better performance there. Of course, in this e-commerce client example, PMax is spending mostly in shopping, which is what we normally see. I don't think you normally need to build out a standard shopping campaign on top of your Performance Max ads in the case of e-commerce, because PMax actually already does a pretty good job of shopping ads, and building out a separate standard shopping campaign is usually not going to do much better than what PMax can do for you. With the other networks though, like search, display, and video, when you see PMax spending and converting in there, then that is legit something where normally you can boost conversions and performance by then using the audience and search terms insights to fuel your own manually created campaigns. Alright, so we covered today how at first you want to launch a Performance Max campaign as a testing or discovery campaign, and then you want to grab the data out of there and use it to help you expand your campaigns and results in Google Ads. So what I want to tell you now is that this is actually a continuous process. You don't just do this one time, then sit on your hands and forget about it. Instead, what I've taught you today about grabbing insights from your search terms insights report, grabbing insights from your audience insights report, grabbing data from Mike Rhodes' PMax script, these are things you want to be doing regularly. I would say you want to repeat the process of checking those insights reports about once per week. I would call that around about the sweet spot. And there you have it. That's how you can build out a killer Google Ads testing campaign using Performance Max. If you want a deeper dive into how to run Google Ads successfully, make sure to check out my full course where I cover everything from the ground up. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.